going to talk about the ducks some more. I started here not too long ago and kind of got interrupted by rain, which we needed desperately. But I'm going to try and finish explaining about the ducks and the egg production in fallen holes. And most people are getting ducks for one reason or another. There's your khaki Campbells, your pecans, your runner ducks, your buff Orpington ducks, your Cayuga ducks, your Swedish blue ducks, and there's hundreds of more ducks. And all these ducks, each duck is pretty much, most of them are pretty much dual purpose. They're egg and meat, and some are just meat because they don't produce a lot of eggs. Like the Muscovies don't produce a lot of eggs. They produce maybe 100 eggs a year. And so Muscovies are just basically for meat, and they crossbreed them a lot with pecans. And I had mentioned this once before, for more flavor in the meat than what the Muscovy has, because Muscovy is a very lean meat, almost like eating veal or sirloin steak. The khaki Campbells are probably your biggest. Khaki Campbells and runners are probably your two biggest egg layers, and the Indian runners aren't really much for meat. They're more for egg than meat. They don't get very big. And your khaki Campbells are pretty much a dual-purpose duck. Khaki Campbell will lay approximately 300 plus eggs a year. Runners will lay approximately about 295, 300 a year. And I think a lot of that depends on their diet, conditions of the weather and where they're at. And I'd rather my animals, I don't want to feed them anything that's going to make them produce more than what their body can produce. I don't want to burn my ducks or my chickens out by my chickens laying 300 eggs a year. I want them to go through their molt, go through their brooding time to sit on eggs and all this, and this gives their body a chance to recoup and be able to lay longer times. And a chicken can lay for a lot of years before you have to start replacing them. And if you start feeding them a feed that's going to make them produce a lot of eggs a year, then you're going to burn your chickens or your ducks out, and you'll have to replace them more often. So that's what I feel. And your pecan duck is, it's a meat duck. It's used for a lot of Asian cuisines, and it has a good flavor. They like the flavor a lot. They lay approximately about 250 so eggs a year. And most of all your ducks, all your domesticated ducks, are bred with mallard. They're mallard descent. All but the Muscovies. And the Muscovies are pretty much their own breed. They're a wild duck. They come from Mexico and South America. To where your khaki Campbell comes from England, and Adele Campbell is the one that bred them, and they're bred with, they're a combination of mallard, runner, and Rohan ducks. Your pecan duck, it's an Asian duck. I think if I remember right, it came from China. So, and it's pretty pretty much, I think it's probably grows wild there, maybe, I don't know. I've been trying to research a lot of the information on a lot of these ducks to kind of let everybody know where these ducks have come from and how they've been bred, you know. Then you have your cayuga. Your cayuga duck is from the United States. It was bred here in the United States. It came from the Cayuga Lake out of New York. And it is a meat duck. It's not a real high egg laying duck. It's about 150, 200 eggs a year. You know, and that also depends. And your cayugas are a meat duck. And then you have your silver apple yard duck, and it's about 250 eggs a year. And it's also a good roasting duck. And then your Swedish blue is a good duck, and they originally came from the Pomeranian of Europe. It was once part of Sweden, and it is now part of Poland and Germany now. And they were bred in like in 1835. And they're basically a meat and egg duck. They don't lay a whole lot of eggs in a year. So, you can see some of the Swedish blues out here, along with the Muscovies and the geese. And then you have your Buff Orpington, and they were bred in like 1910, and they're from Europe. Your Indian runners are also a domesticated duck, and they come off of the island of Indonesia, and they were developed in about 1800s. Your Buff Orpingtons, I started on them, didn't I? They are I lost my page. I guess I don't have anything on there. That was not good. The Buff Orpingtons are a breed of they're a breed of Cayuga, Runner, and the Ruhan ducks, and they're from India. Along with your Runner ducks, they're from Indonesia, off of one of the islands of Indonesia. And they use, the Runner ducks are used a lot for pest control. They like to, flies, I've noticed with the Muscovies, they like to chase flies down. They also chase like the grasshoppers and anything that kind of flies, they pretty much like to chase down. The Rohan duck is also a domesticated duck, and like I said, they're good for roasting. They're very docile. A lot of people like them because they are very docile. Your Swedish blues are pretty docile too. The Swedish blues are a good duck to start with if you've never had ducks before, because they're pretty easy to maintain and they're pretty friendly. And the Buff Orpingtons, they come in a variety of different colors. I don't know why I don't have any information on them, but I don't. Okay, your Buff Orpingtons, they lay about 150 eggs a year, and they're also a good meat egg, a meat duck. They're also good for meat, and they breed them a lot for meat and eggs, but they're not a high producing egg. I mean, it's whatever you're wanting for a duck. If you want an egg duck, I would suggest the khaki Campbells and the runners, because they're the two highest egg producers. If you want a meat duck, then I would, suggest the Pekin ducks and the Swedish blues, your Buff, even your khaki Campbells are a good meat duck as well. And they use a lot of the ducks are really good for going in and taking care of pests. Like if you wanted your ducks to go in the garden, I would, if you want to put them in your garden, I would suggest that you watch them, because they do like to eat lettuce and Swiss chard and that kind of thing, but they don't scratch the surface up like the chickens do. Chickens go in and they'll dig the whole surface up. They'll even dig the whole plant up out of the ground, to where the ducks will just eat the greens off of it. And ducks are really good for insects. I think they're a better insect for insects than chickens are even, except for chickens do dig a lot of the grubs and stuff up out of the ground, and the ducks don't do that. So it's all dependent on what you're wanting. Most people that have ducks have chickens. Some people are allergic to duck eggs, some people are allergic to chicken eggs. So if and duck eggs are very rich and very high in omega fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids, and they're very high in minerals and vitamins, higher than your chicken eggs. They're really good for like baking, like when you want to cook cakes or pies or something like that. Duck eggs are really great for that. They're really rich. So I'm just kind of throwing some of this stuff out to you so you kind of know a little bit. I'm still doing a lot of research myself on them, So a man has responsibility, not power. Please subscribe, share, comment. Good, bad, or different comment. I don't care. Suggestions. And, good or bad, thumbs up, thumbs down. It all helps. And have a great day. Thanks for coming by.